hey, here we are. Look at this.
I'm really not so excited about this at all.
No? That's too bad.
I'm way more comfortable on that side.
I'm super
I think it's
excited.
good.
I'm sure.
I think it's good. You being there and being in the hot seat, if you will.
I feel like all the trash talking I've done to you over the past year or so we've been doing this is going to come back
Absolutely.
on me.
It's totally going to come back. This is going to be an hour-long talk. That's it.
Great experience
Yeah.
overall.
No, I'm kidding.
It will be.
I was already trash talking KD because he's not here. I was like, I get surprised because I've had, for anyone that looks at this and is expecting my ordinarily polished
Yeah.
exterior, I
Yeah.
didn't know this was going to happen. So
That was a good PSA. Just
Yeah.
now.
You're pretty well polished for the most part, though. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see an unpolished version.
you're about to.
Sweet.
You and everybody else.
KD is going to get his moment, though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's coming.
Yeah, but he's going to be at home he's going to be reviewing a little sheet that he never read the whole year we were doing this.
I don't think so, though. He flies by the seat of
true.
his pants quite a lot.
That's very true.
Yeah. All right, January 13th.
Yes.
We've got a test coming up. So how do they go about?
Get on GrandPrairiePolice.org.
That's it.
And if you've had a chance to kind of listen to some of this and decide if this is something you want to try your hand at, come out. You get to talk to some officers, get to take a written test. You'll get put through a physical battery of physical assessments. And then you'll be told if you advance in the process. And then if you do, you'll do things like background, interview boards, polygraph, that sort of thing,
All that good
psychiatric evaluations. But it all starts with taking the test on January 13th.
Love it.
And go
Perfect.
from there.
All right. So you all have been told. So Nathan, we know the man behind the mic, but our viewers sure don't. So this is going to be their opportunity to have all those questions answered. Do you feel prepared for that? No.
No.
Good. All right.
No, I just feel very.
This will be great.
I feel a little bad for all the times I sat over there and I was like, would y'all just relax? Like, it's fine. We're having a conversation. Like, what's the worst? Because
Just
now I'm
talking.
sitting here and I'm like, a little bit nervous.
Yeah, we're really comfortable if that makes you feel any better.
It doesn't.
No? Okay. Well, I'm Emily. For those of y'all who don't know me, we are joined with one of our new
Whitney.
I guess interviewer people today. And we're here with Nathan. So why don't we get started with your, I guess, inception story, like how you came to be?
Yeah.
Inception or like conception?
Well,
Because I don't know that one.
Well, no,
I have an idea.
right. Well, we can buy.
I know who's involved.
was it like a
That's that one.
Stevie Nicks concert or not sure?
My mom's classy.
Oh, good. That makes a lot of sense,
Yes.
though. That makes sense with like the
Morals.
polished Nathan.
You're right. How
scruple.
ridiculous a polished.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's genetic.
I actually, this is the reason that Chief Leonard kept asking me, hey, do you want to be interviewed? And I was like, no,
Nope.
and you actually don't want me to either because I have a pretty boring story. I literally just grew up way out in the middle of nowhere to a cop as a father, and his dad was a cop, and I was just like, that's what I'm going to do. And then I've done that and continue to do that. That's the pretty much story.
That's it.
Yeah.
Open, closed.
That's it.
The end.
Yep.
There's more in there.
There's definitely more. Really interesting too. I mean, lineage, law enforcement.
They've been doing it for a while. Yeah, they have been doing it for a while. I think because my dad and granddad were both Dallas PD, and I think someone in our family had done it back to like the early 20s. Because I know someone in our family was on one of the first motor jock units that they had.
Oh,
It's pretty cool. They were the three wheelers.
okay.
There's a
That's
picture in a
cool.
newspaper
Yeah.
somewhere of them wrecking them, but
Definitely not boring.
not for him. No.
So you grew up country boy then?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was probably the most interesting part, as far not the way I grew up, but adjusting from that upbringing into the profession, and not just the profession, but the department I started off on, kind of working the inner city, and it was like, this is completely different than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
That was an adjustment.
So high school size, what are we working with?
I was homeschooled.
It's making so much sense now.
Yeah.
That's a compliment, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was telling them, I always joke that whenever people were like, ask, oh, how'd you grow up? I'm like, well, you've heard of Waco and the Branch Davidians, and like that's kind of, yeah, it was very, very rural, very, very quiet. Yeah, I was homeschooled all the way from like I think first or second grade, all the way through to the end.
That's cool.
Was it just like your family, or some of the families would like get together?
Co-op type thing?
There was some of it, but back then it wasn't as popular. It was like really you had like a homeschool group, but it was like those little outings here and there. Some of my other siblings, like they were a part of co-ops, and it was much more involved.
Yeah,
they have sports league. They have a whole bunch of stuff that are in the 90s. They didn't have.
Right. What year were you born?
89.
89. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're a millennial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
Which is
into it.
crazy because I feel proud of that now.
Compared to what else we're working with, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Used to that like
We
millennial
cry a
was
lot,
like
but like
Yeah.
Yeah. Used to millennial was almost a curse word. Like if someone called you a millennial, it was an insult. And now you get on social media and it's like, I'm not one of those Gen Zers.
Right.
We're like the new boomers.
I agree.
Yes, I do kind of feel that way.
Yeah, but
sense.
I think Gen Z will probably say the next. I think that's just like
100%.
once you kind of grow, once you wake up and like parts of your body start hurting, I think that's at that point you're like the baton is passed from generation before you to you, saying now is your time to go forth and
Just be salty on the internet.
be salty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just wake
I
up
like
angry
it.
at your pain and then you decide to get angry at everybody else's.
Yeah. I think it's
release.
effective. We've earned it. We've earned that right.
I agree.
So, talk to me about animals. What did you have? Did you have chickens? Did you have cows?
Yeah, so we actually, so
Is
it's
that
a little weird.
stereotypical?
Yes, but accurate.
Okay, okay.
No, stereotypes exist for a reason, generally. No, it's like I had the dogs and cats and all that kind of stuff. But we actually raised emus growing up.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they spit? Or are those llamas?
Those are llamas. Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
That is
The-
so cool.
An emu is like the liberty.
Yeah, emu, and the other guy. Couldn't
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah. That's
That's
right.
a-
I don't watch a lot of TV. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh.
They didn't allow
But-
that in the co-op.
Yeah.
We called it a compound.
They didn't allow that in the co-op.
Yeah, so we had emus.
Did we name
Oh,
them?
I'm so
like,
boring.
how
Yeah,
involved?
so-
Raising emus. Like,
Right.
I mean, I didn't, yeah. So a couple of them had names. Ironically enough, the one that my dad killed was named
We'll table
Sarabe
that.
by my sister. It was kind of funny because I forget what it was. There was a reason. There was a reason that it had to be put down. I don't know. I wasn't not a bird person, but or even the oversized kind. And my dad had gone to move it or something, and I don't know if you remember like the way their legs work, but they
No.
they're hinged like this.
I'm not a bird person
And-
either.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they are
But
like.
they are, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of backwards.
Yeah.
Kind of like kangaroo-ish.
Yes.
But so he went to like move it, and he grabbed it from behind to move it, and it threw its leg up and hooked him in the nostril, and just split his nose wide open. And I don't know if that was the precipitating event, and I just got told like, hey, there was this really necessary thing, but really I just got pissed off. But long story short, it ended with that bird getting
Dead.
ushered to the afterlife
Yeah.
at the end of a PR.
Yeah.
They
And
got like talons.
yeah, they're no joke.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that was like an Old Yeller like type moment. You know, like Old Yeller. Have you heard of that movie?
Yeah, I don't
It's like
remember.
back in the day, you had to
Yeah,
go
I
ahead
don't
and put
remember.
the dog down
Yeah,
because he turned on you and got rabies.
yeah. I feel like Old
Yeah.
Yeller was probably more polite. Maybe Old Yeller if they'd used like the butt of the shotgun instead of the actual shotgun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my sister's favorite one, I guess.
Okay.
And so she had named it Sarabe because the Lion King was big back then,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and everyone was like, "Hey, shut up! Don't tell her like that this happened. We'll just tell her they learned how to fly, and it's gone." And
Flew off.
It
and then,
learned how to
but
fly.
like growing up the way we did, you made use of like you didn't just kill things unnecessarily, and so naturally you can eat emus. Like it's perfectly good meat. And so my dad had cooked burgers with it for the first time,
Wow.
and so we're all sitting around the table, And well, and the thing is, she didn't. Like, no one told her. But we're sitting around the table and we're like all gonna try out these new types of burgers. We're like, hey, let's see if this is gonna be good.
Burger time.
And so we eat it and excuse me. Everyone's like, oh, hey, they're really good. So we're kind of like non-verbally communicating with one another, like, hey, good job, Dad. Like, really badass.
Yeah.
And then my sister just quips, hey, Sarabe tastes great. Everyone kind of stops. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Wow.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. So describe emu?
I actually don't know. I call it emu.
Emu. I think that's right. That sounds. You're more of a bird person than anyone else in this room. So
Yeah,
Not
my
saying
reference
much.
was just the commercial that you mentioned.
we'll go with
Yeah.
emu.
I've probably eaten more types of birds than y'all have, I guess.
So describe an emu for those of us who don't know. Like, is it gamey? Is it?
Oh, I don't remember.
You don't
I was
remember?
really,
Oh.
I was real young, and it wasn't.
So you're not an
he wasn't like
avid
he
emu
wasn't like
consumer.
an emu serial killer. He just
Got
like
it.
Okay.
did that one time,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
Yeah.
it was a one-off. Yeah.
Just didn't want to waste.
Right.
Couldn't
Yeah.
waste the kill.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he was like, "Hey, you took my nose. I'm gonna kill you, and now
Yeah.
you're dead." So
Yeah.
Well,
Huh. All right.
Resourceful.
Your dad sounds like he is a great man. I love that this happened. I love that this is a story that you get to have.
I have not thought about this in a long time.
Wow.
Well, hey, listen. You've been avoiding this opportunity to delve into these.
I have. All I had to
core
do was sit down and get
memories.
stereotyped, and
That's
then
it.
I get to
There
jump
we
into.
go.
That's
There
it.
we go.
And now that I'm hearing myself say it, I sound really redneck.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Now, if you start telling me that you've been tipping cows, did you
Okay.
ever have a mullet?
Mullet, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Oh, wow. Did you go mudding?
Yeah. Back. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Back
What
before
is-
it was cool.
What is the thing where you like catch frogs gigging? Is that what it's called? Frog gigging or whatever? Did you do that? Good for you,
Gets
man.
little crawdads out of the holes
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did that.
I've done that too.
yeah. I think that's a obligatory Southern
Southern.
kid
Probably, yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could get 900 of them, put them in a pot, and they would be amazing. I didn't discover that till later in life.
Didn't learn that. And that is why you love crawfish fried rice.
That's right. How do you know that?
We talked about it on a podcast. I remember things.
No. I
See,
don't.
that seemed important to me, so I filed that one away.
That is one of my favorite meals. If you're in Grand Prairie, go to Bistro B and get crawfish fried rice.
That does sound pretty solid.
It's awesome.
Is it a little spicy?
It can be, yeah. If you do like I do, and you put all the hot oil they have on it into the rice, and I know I'm going to regret it every time I do it, but
It's worth it in
I
the
still do it,
moment.
yeah.
Okay. So you eat an emu burger. You go through school. Did you play like any sports, or how did that work?
Yeah.
I
for
played
you?
I played soccer. We couldn't. You couldn't participate at the time. I don't know if it's changed, but you couldn't participate in the school or the school sports
Yeah.
like baseball, football, that kind of stuff. But there was an independent soccer league in our
Okay.
town that we got to play in.
Don't your little ones play soccer?
No,
No?
no, I do. I go to pretty great lengths to not let them know that sport exists.
Wow.
Why is that?
That's so intentional.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Wait, but you have them do baseball?
Yes.
That seems like a way
It does.
rougher like commitment than soccer.
Oh yeah, it is, but
Okay.
it's just less. I'm not crazy about the soccer culture.
Okay.
It's very like once you get up the upper echelons, and again, and someone's listening. Kyle's probably listening to me, and he hates me. But
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's
because he's super into it.
yeah, it's very hoity-toity and yuppie-ish, and some of baseball is too. But then and like all the flopping and the pretending like you've been hurt. And
Oh,
I
okay.
just don't. I don't do that. I was actually a terrible soccer player. Yeah, I was always too rough and get in the scuffles. And
Okay.
not a good personality for it.
No. Why? Too competitive, or you just wanted it? You needed more like of a contact.
No, because like
Situation.
to me, if like kind of more contact.
Okay.
Because if someone hits you, the natural progression is you're going to hit them
Hit 'em
back.
back, yeah.
Someone talks trash to you, you're going to talk trash back. Like there's a
Yeah.
give and take there.
Yeah.
Is not real conducive with the soccer. I remember there was one time, I don't remember what it was, but something had happened, and this guy turned around to like come running at me, and I was like, okay, we're gonna fight. So I went to I don't know if I shoved him or something, and one of my buddies was like, yeah, he was gonna kick your. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. He's like, nah, yeah, he's gonna kick. I was like, well, he didn't. So I was like, in my mind, I was just like, you do A, I do B. Like that's
Yeah.
just the way things go.
He probably had a love for emu. and had heard of
He
the
was probably on probation and just didn't
well.
want to.
or that. That's where I was going to go next. Wow. Okay.
What about any like instruments or something with the arts? Any of that?
No,
Aficionado.
no. I'm a big reader. I mean, I love to read and write and whatnot, but I don't. I always wanted to play the violin, but I'm also very. I don't stay focused on one thing for very long, so I don't know that I would have had the discipline to really become.
Yeah.
Some kind of good musician.
That's probably. I mean, I don't really know, but from what I hear, like violin's probably one of the more challenging things that you.
Yeah,
could
my
play.
wife played a little bit.
Oh.
But
That's cool.
never did.
Right.
That's why I say this is gonna be super boring. Because
No,
although
y'all
the emu
not
thing was
funny.
interesting, I
Eating
forgot
an
about
emu
that.
burger, you're beating kids'
emu
ass on the
burger,
soccer
that's
field.
just, yeah.
I mean,
I
there's
feel like you just already
It's a lot to work with.
It is.
Just trying to
It's a lot
kind of
to unpack.
weed through where we're going to start with that. Okay, so then you homeschool through high school, right? Okay, from there, what do you end up doing? You go to college, you go military?
Yeah, so a little bit of both. We had to take, I don't know if we had to take extra tests, but basically you had to prove like I was homeschooled, but I didn't just sit at the house killing birds my whole life. Like we actually did some academic stuff. So you take some tests, you prove that, you get accepted to, I did some time at junior college and I got a scholarship to a school in Arkansas.
Where?
Henderson State.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
I'm from Little Rock.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not made for school. I don't, if there's a subject that I'm passionate about or I love, I will learn every little nook and cranny, everything there is to know about it. Like everybody in the office makes fun of me because I love meteorology. So I just like dive into some of that. And I enjoy learning about it. But if there's something that I don't care about and I know I'm not going to use, like I don't give a shit that the college thinks
Yes.
I need college algebra.
Right.
I don't care. I don't need it.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to use it.
Yeah.
And just the idea that a group of people that I've never met tell me that in order for them to give me a piece of paper and say I'm smart, I got to know. It just, I don't
Got it.
like the whole thing.
Got it.
But yeah, like the literature stuff, the philosophy, some of the sciences and stuff, I loved it and I excelled at it. But I just, my personality wasn't conducive to, so I dropped out.
So you went to JUCO for a bit. At that point, did you have an idea that you wanted to do military or cop work? Like, how did that transition for you?
I had in my mind I wanted to be a cop pretty much my whole life. But it always kind of felt like it was a matter of default. Like all the guys in my family, or a lot of the guys in my family had. The other ones had gone military. The military had always kind of been on my mind, mainly because my granddad retired as a master sergeant in the Marine Corps.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
And so I think from the time I was 10 or 11, he started buying me, or he got me subscriptions to Leatherneck magazine, which is a magazine about the Marine Corps. And so I just been indoctrinated with this since I was real little.
Oh, yeah.
And so I always kind of had that in the back of my mind. But really my big thing was when I got the opportunity to go to college, it was just I went from having one lifestyle, which was, more rural, I would say sheltered in the sense of like, he's like bubble boy kind of shelter, but just as a natural consequence of the environment, just more sheltered.
It's different.
And then I, go to straight to a college environment where I'm, living out of state. So I was like, my mind was blown by all the stupid stuff I could do, and I did.
Well, and the crazy
a lot
thing
of it.
too is like Henderson is such it's not what you would think like it's not like U of A.
If
Like-
I would have gone there, I would have died. Yes. No.
So it's funny to hear, like, you really grew up
Wow.
pretty rural if, like, Henderson was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Henderson's nothing. I mean, it's like.
What's the
it's
comparison to like North Texas, if you could, or is
a junior high
is
or a high
there-
school?
Probably, well, maybe not even, well, but probably about a high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very small. But again, the way I grew up when I was exposed to it was, if I would have gone to a big school, no. Because like all the things that they tell you not to do when you first go to college,
Yeah.
You gonna do
I was
it.
like, I'm going to do all of those.
Just trying
And,
out.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them because I didn't lie on my polygraph. But
Well, there you go.
There
So
you go.
you did enough to, like, have an experience, but not enough to, like, totally not be able to.
not completely preclude me from law enforcement.
There you go.
Okay.
Towed the line a couple times, but
So, of the bit that you spent at Henderson, tell us one good story. That's appropriate. I know you've got some. If you were able to pass your polygraph and you were at Henderson State, you got some.
Yeah. If you have to change names for,
Yeah, my name.
confidentiality, it's okay.
I need to know one.
I really don't know if I do.
What is that? Is Henderson in Conway or Searcy?
Arkadelphia.
Arkadelphia. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Trying
You
to think,
weren't
man.
getting into much. You were going to Lake DeGray and probably having yourself a ball.
I forgot about that.
Good old
I
Lake
forgot.
DeGray.
We call it DeGray Lake, but yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Dang.
You were going out there. I know you were. I saw you Henderson boys and girls out there at that lake.
That was just a
You
very.
had your curfew, but you were there.
No, Ouachita did.
Oh,
was a Christian
that's
school.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
They're super strict.
Yeah. No, there's a. Yeah, no, I'm not telling you stories.
Okay.
What, you had some wild nights at that subway down the
Yeah.
street?
No.
Next
When I
to
tell
the
you I was
Texaco?
when I tell you I was a stupid individual,
All right, we'll leave those stories for
it
off
was
camera
as
then.
if I was trying my best to not be a cop.
Okay. Okay, so you leave
think of
Henderson.
Yeah.
Then what?
So I left Henderson. I came back home. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that the school environment really wasn't it. And it was a combination of me just realizing like I'm not really cut out for that style of academia, at least at the immaturity and the age that I was, combined with I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I was going to be a cop. So it was like I knew I needed a certain number of hours to join the department I was looking at, and I just wanted to just went home and I went down this little avenue where I thought I was going to become a professional MMA fighter, and so I just proceeded to just get my head pounded in for like 12 months or so.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, that was actually, in hindsight, that was a fun time because I would just I had no nothing job at UPS, and so you would work at UPS,
Honestly, the
during the night,
best.
and it's like a workout, and then you go to the gym for a few hours and go home, and that was it.
Man.
What a time to be alive, though.
Yeah, no, that was
Right?
That was
I mean,
yeah, and and at the time I was so concerned with oh, am I going to actually do anything in MMA? Which had I fast forwarded, and it's like the answer is no. I could have relaxed and enjoyed it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, from there I had some the conflict in Iraq, Afghanistan was in full swing at the time, and I had some buddies who had enlisted, and I felt like what I was doing was not very consequential in comparison. So I just went to the Marine Corps recruiting office and said, sign me up. And that was it. And for as motivated as I was, my military career was just nothing.
Why?
Yeah,
Tell me.
because military recruiters will tell you a certain thing in the office. And I don't know what all goes into it as far as like hitting numbers or whatever. But the image I had of going reserves versus active was basically that you would you had the opportunity to pursue a career stateside, which was good for me because I wanted to do policing and finish a little bit of school. But then you also got all these opportunities to deploy. And I had known two guys who were in the Marine Corps Reserves who had 2 deployments each. So I was like, okay, obviously it's a possibility. And everybody told me I was crazy because they were like, no, you need to go Army National Guard because they actually work with you at school and blah blah blah. Marine Corps, they're just going to deploy you, let you come back for a little bit, deploy you. And I was like, okay, cool. That's pretty much what I want to do. And then I deployed, or I'm sorry, then I once I got to my unit, they're like, yeah, we don't really deploy as like a whole unit. We're on stand. I think they said that they're on standby, like for Korea or some other conflict, as far as like a headquarters battery goes. But so you had the opportunity to sign up for deployments, like little 5, 6, 7, 8 guys at a time, and it just didn't work out. So.
So when you go into a unit like that, is it specific to like a certain job detail, or you just get grouped together for any number of reasons? How does that work?
When you show up to your unit, it's dependent on, like, you show up with your job. So I'd already done my basic training and my school and whatnot. Right. And then as a reservist, they assign you to your unit before you even complete it. I didn't realize actually that my unit had been decided for much longer than I even realized that it had. I was going back to Fort Worth, the whole time. And once you get there, they know this is your job. You're going to fit in here in this part of our unit.
Got it.
check
Okay.
in, and then they start training you from there.
Okay.
And in a more traditional unit, you would prepare for deployment. You would train up whatever your job is, get ready to go. That group goes overseas as a group, and then comes back as a group.
Okay. So you're in the reserve, no deployments.
Oh, what was your job?
Yeah.
I started off as fire direction control for artillery, which sounds pretty cool. And yeah, it's not. It's really stupid. When I was talking to the recruiter, it sounded like I thought I was gonna be like in the bushes, like finding out where
With a
fire
scope.
direction and control. It sounds like
love
you're
it.
like directing fire and
Right.
you're controlling it. Sounds
Yeah.
great.
That's not
I
the
got
case.
to the schoolhouse in Oklahoma, and they're like, well, and you finally get there when they process you in, and then they take you to your area. And the first day of the course, everything else in the Marine Corps up to that point was suggested that you're going to go outside, you're going to get PT'd, things are going to be difficult, and they just open the door to a classroom, and it's just like rows of computers. I was like, this is weird. They're like, yeah, you're going to be living here for the next 4 or 5 months, or whatever it was. And I'll never forget that feeling in my stomach. I was like,
Yeah.
this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Did they? So is that just because, like, you were situated in a certain aspect of fire and control, or
No,
you
that was just a job. Basically, you a lot of what used to be done manually, where like if you ever see like old war movies where they're plotting artillery, where they call it charts and darts, where you literally have a map, and you have different geometric tools that you use to determine gunpowder loads and angles of fire and where you want your round to explode and all that. All that used to be done manually is now done in a computer.
Okay.
So you're going to get someone's going to say, hey, we want to hit this, and then you're going to put some stuff in the computer, get some numbers, you're going to transmit that back to the gun line. Then the artillery guys that have the cooler jobs are going to take those numbers and apply them to the gun and actually shoot.
Was there any part of it that you somewhat enjoyed or found doable?
Weekends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever
you weren't doing it.
Yeah. Whenever.
Got it.
Yeah. Whenever somebody wasn't getting a DWI or arrested for fighting, and
Yeah.
you had to stay in the barracks, you got to actually go out in town. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Okay.
And then just
Well,
trying your best not to be that guy getting
Yes.
arrested.
Yeah.
Was that easy for you or no? Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like that might have been a task.
Yeah, no, it was a lot. For me, it was a whole lot of pent up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be doing something. Like the training portion of the Marine Corps, I loved. But I also had the benefit of having been exposed to so much of it when
Yeah.
I was younger. I kind of knew what was coming. Like when you first get to boot camp, there's like this shock factor. I knew it. Like I knew exactly what was going to happen from my friends and family. And so seeing some of the guys that didn't was priceless. But
Yeah.
yeah, adjusting to that more admin type of role, I was eventually able to change jobs to a one that's still not not what I like, but it was you were at least doing stuff outside a little bit more.
So that was like the soccer equivalent of your
Yeah, of all the
Marine
ways that
job
could have,
experience.
yeah, of all the ways that could have worked out, it's not a. That's why I don't like you had a lot of Marines that go around making a big deal about the fact that they were in the Marine Corps.
Yes.
I don't really even.
Yeah.
Because we know some guys like Joe who just complete and I'm just like, not gonna.
Hey, but I'm
Talk to
sure
him
you
about
can
that.
run some numbers in a computer, my man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
It actually helps a lot now.
Yeah, exactly. It all works out in the end. How long were you in for? Or are you still
I
currently
did
in?
no. I did.
Okay.
I just look like it because after,
do?
Yeah.
Go ahead. How long were you in?
I think my contract was for 6 minimum. I did a little over 6. I don't know if I did was 7 and change.
Okay.
But yeah, not a lot to the military stuff.
Did you immediately transition into police work?
No, so that was the one part of the reserve aspect I guess that did work out the way it was supposed to. Was I did have the opportunity to do both at the same time.
Oh,
that's
that's
So-
cool.
I started at my old department in 2012, and I enlisted in 09. Late 08, early 09, one of the two. And so anyway, I did a few years in there, and then I was able to go into law enforcement.
Okay, cool. How many, is Grand Prairie your second? Or how many departments? Okay.
Yeah, second.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Were you at a bigger department before this?
Yeah, it was a lot
or-
bigger. I think I think when I left, they were hovering around 3,000 officers.
Okay. And were you patrol over there? Or did you also do some investigative work?
No, not investigative in the traditional sense. I started off in patrol, obviously, and then my partner and I focused a lot on like street level narcotics type stuff, and we had the opportunity to put in for I guess it's a specialized unit, basically working as uniform narcotics. So whenever narcotics detectives get complaints, they can't because we get hundreds and hundreds of complaints, especially in a city like the one I was in, and they're not going to do an undercover operation at every single complaint. So a lot of them either, one, they can't really investigate fully from an undercover capacity. It doesn't really necessitate their expertise, or they just need to develop, see, is this even legitimate, or is this just a Karen that doesn't like the fact that there's people with loud music or something? So then we, working in a mostly uniform capacity, would go and, like, they call us a knock and talk unit, because we would just literally just knock and talk. If we went up and it was a situation where it's like it's obvious there's narcotics traffic, which you can tell pretty easily most of the time, then we might not just walk straight up and try to chat them up and put them on notice. We might sit back and pull traffic that's leaving and see if those people have drugs, and then get search warrants from there. But yeah, a lot of times it was just knocking on the door, talking to people, and see what you can get.
How is that being in uniform and doing that?
I don't know. I've never done it out of uniform.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think it would be necessary to do it in uniform. You wouldn't want a plainclothes guy in a situation like that, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it was for a younger officer, because I left that department at 4 years. So
Okay.
I was very young, and I started off in policing in 22, I think. So I was pretty young. So kind of having the upbringing I did in the area I did, to going, okay, now I'm in this inner city police department, adjusting to that, and now I'm in this situation where I'm talking to people, because I had no experience with narcotics or anything like that, like growing up. Like, some of the best narcotics and cops you'll deal with are the guys who were around that growing up. They had family situations where they exposed to it, and I had none of that. So I'm not complaining, but it was just something where in the job it's like, okay, get up there and start talking, and it's like,
what was the
Have you
like?
seen
How
an
was you
emu?
received? Like, when people would speak to you or see you, was it like just silence? Was it immediately want to talk to you? Like, what? How did that?
It completely depends.
That is so specific and so
because I hear it all the time. Yeah, I hear it all the time. Yeah, so if they can get past that, and I've always been pretty easygoing as far as like talking to people. I never had too much of an issue with it. But yeah, kind of getting past that initial, who's this 12-year-old guy? I'm like asking, sorry, sir, do you have crack?
Right, like, how old are you?
Right. But
I'm just imagining you knocking on someone's door. Hello, sir. Do you have crack?
yeah, that's pretty much how it went the first couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
call the police on
you turn around.
like-
Then you turn around to the senior officers, and you're like, they said no. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want me to do now?
They don't have crack, guys.
They
We
have
can go to the
Right,
next
yeah, no,
house.
we're
They
good.
have none. What's the next address?
So you're there. You come here.
Mm-hmm.
Big change for you, or
Yeah. Yeah, there was positives, negatives, obviously. One of my least favorite things when I first got here was I went from having a partner. Sorry, my allergies are killing me. So my partner was a guy I sat next to in the academy. We just both of our dads were cops. His dad actually was on the department I was at as the guy who ran the academy.
oh wow,
Yeah, so it's kind of sucked for him.
yeah, big time.
His dad was super nice now, but at the time in that environment, not like a nice man at all. And so he and I became good friends in the academy, and then we did our field training officer phase. Then we immediately linked back up and worked patrol together, and then we got picked for the specialized unit together. So the whole time we were there virtually, we were partners, and there's a very unique dynamic to working as a partner with someone every single day.
Sure.
And getting in these situations, these dynamic, dangerous situations where they would always say whenever we were in the academy that you get to the point where you don't have to talk. Totally true. I mean, you could on a traffic stop, looking over the car, you could just tell by the way their face was,
Yeah.
like what their if they looked, the way they looked at you, what words they were using talking to the other people. You're like, okay, we're about to get these people out, or okay, these guys are about to take off, or
Right.
whatever the case is. So going from that, even in the environment that was much more hostile than it is here, going from that to being by yourself in a squad car was a weirdly intimidating thing. Not because I couldn't do the job, but just it was just I just always had that person who was on one side of me that I knew was kind of my second half that could take care of things. Then it's like, okay, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Excuse
That's
me.
a big change.
That was weird. It was very weird. That was the only thing honestly, my only complaint when I first got here. Went from working 8-hour shifts to working 12s. That was miraculous.
Like you liked that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so on the fence about making the jump. And then one of the things that convinced me to do the ride along was I was talking to an officer that was currently here who came from the same department I did. And he mentioned, he's like, hey, we work 12-hour shifts. And I kind of did the math on how that works out and days off and how many days I had been working at the department I was at. And so I was like, man, I'm going to get to see my family a lot more. So I was like, okay, I'll do the ride along and just see how it goes.
So at that point, you came, did a ride along, and then just made your mind up. Or did you take any time to think about it?
So I made my mind up on the night of the ride along. It was
Who'd you ride with?
AJ Castaneda, actually.
Oh, awesome.
I'd never done a ride along. Like I did one with a specialized unit with my a friend of my dad's at Dallas when I was like trying to make sure I want to be a cop. But I'd never like done like a walk in. I don't know anybody here. I'm gonna get in a squad car with you, kind of ride along. And it was very short notice. And I was talking to the guy who was recruiting for Grand Prairie at the time, and he's like, "I'm not taking no for an answer. Like just come do a ride along." And at the time, I didn't like. I was at my mother-in-law's house. Like I forget what we were doing. We were just like bringing something over, and but we were in Grand Prairie, and she's like, my wife's like, I'm gonna go get you some slacks because traditionally you'll wear like business casual to a ride out. And she says, I'm gonna go get you some slacks or whatever. So I got some slacks, but I didn't have a holster. Like I didn't have like some of the things you would ordinarily do because again I was just like dropping things off at the house, so like I wasn't prepared to go out and conceal carry and all that. And so I was like, I'll be fine. Like I won't carry a gun. It's guys do ride-alongs without guns all the time. It kind of makes the skin the skin crawl a little bit as a cop. You're like, oh my god, I'm being in these situations without a gun.
Right.
Which I thought it wasn't going to be as big of a deal until I got out there and I realized, ooh, I really hate this.
Yeah.
But I also thought Grand Prairie was kind of punkish. Like I thought,
Really? Explain more.
Well, my only exposure to Grand Prairie was like south of 20, which is very nice. And I didn't think there was any part of Grand Prairie that like wasn't as nice. And just like any city, there is. And although disappointingly not as much anymore because which makes it less fun to patrol. But yeah, so I went out there and we're driving around. I'm like, okay, this is a little different than I thought I was expecting. I thought it was like just Target and Kroger and that was pretty much it. But there's some good stuff out there. And I guess whenever you do a ride along, traditionally they'll like read you rules and tell you what you can and can't do. And nobody did that for me. And so on he might cut this, I don't know. But they on the ride along, I'm standing there and I'm talking to one of our canine guys, and they had this guy detained. And because he was like pushing a stolen truck to the middle of the road or something.
Casual.
And he kind of came over, kind of pulled over as like a, hey, do you want to, do you need help to, oh, this is stolen. Okay. And then like they're waiting for confirmation on warrants or the stolen status or something. And me and this canine officer, he actually may have been patrol at the time, but we're talking to this guy. And the dude just takes off running. And like I'm a cop. And so I'm like, I'm not going to not go chase that guy. And so I take off running. And it just, I don't know, it never crossed my mind that like I don't have a gun or like a vest.
That
or
training kicked in,
This guy
buddy.
thinks I'm just like a really highly excited civilian, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was yelling police at him and so did everybody else. But regardless, I wound up catching the dude and we got him into custody. And I was like, this is awesome. So this is actually the second chase today. I wasn't as stupid on the first one because I wasn't right in front of me. But So after that, I was like, man, this is great. Like this is, I might could actually work here.
Yeah.
And so then AJ looks at me. He goes, hey, bro, let's go get in the car. I was like, what for? And he's like, I don't know if you should have done that. And then it kind of clicked, and I was like, yeah, you might. It might have been right, yeah. And I was like, I'll just go sit in the car, I guess. And so I go and I sit in the car, and then the sergeant comes up, and like I'm sitting in the front seat, and I'm like looking out the windshield, and I can see AJ, and at the time Sergeant Brandon talking, and he just kind of like points at me, and he's like, what the f-? And yeah, so then AJ comes and hops back in the car, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and run back to the station. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, we're gonna go right to the report or whatever. And he goes, yeah, we gotta go talk to the LT, the watch commander. And I was like, oh, this is like about me. And it was Lieutenant Davis at the time.
Okay.
And but I was like, this is gonna be about me, isn't it? He's like, yeah, bro. Okay, so it's kind of nice and quiet ride back, and then I sit and of course I'm covered in mud too. I can look like a because I'm in dress clothes and my slacks are just covered in mud, and I'm just having to sit out in our report writing area and wait for Castaneda and Davis to stop talking, and then he comes and gets me and calls me in there, and Davis just looks at me. He goes, "You think you did good?" And I was like, well, I was actually like really looking forward to working here. We're trying to work here now, and like I feel like I already kind of messed it up. He's like, well, did you have a gun? I was like, no. Did you have a vest? He's like, no. And he's like, that probably wasn't very smart, was it? No, not like the smartest thing I've ever done. Like nowhere near the dumbest. Like he doesn't know that, but he's like, you must really like your job, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I do. He's like, all right, cool. Just don't do that again.
Got it.
All right,
yes, sir.
bye.
There we go. Yeah. Welcome to GPPD.
So then I went home, talked to my wife, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put in.
Yeah. And that's just a Tuesday, mid-afternoon in Grand Prairie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you've
it was,
loved it ever since.
Yeah, I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. Yeah.
How long were you on patrol here?
2.5 to 3 years, I think.
Okay. Gotcha. And then from there,
From there, I went straight to property crimes, where
Okay.
I'm currently at. Yeah.
What was that transition like going from I'm on the streets to here now you're inside? Like,
It depends on the day.
okay.
It still depends on the day, honestly. I really enjoy my job, but I really enjoy the streets as well. It's like I constantly debate, like, am I going to go back to patrol? Am I going to, maybe wait, promote and go back to patrol? I don't know. My job currently I'm not someone who naturally just sits at a computer, but the job has enough different investigative needs and different avenues you can take. Because like we say property crimes, but it's not just property crimes.
right. Y'all get your hands in a lot.
Yeah, it's anything, basically anything that's not domestics, robbery, sex assault, murders. I think that's it. Anything besides those things, we'll take care of. And a lot of times, even some of our investigations that kind of go towards a different offense that another unit might investigate, we'll still take care of it.
Yeah.
So I've never done like a sex assault or a murder because those things are super intensive and specific, and you got to be very experienced to get those things right. You're not going to let a guy just try his hand at it. So I've never done those, but I've done the vast majority of a lot of the other offenses. So
Is that something you're interested in doing at some point?
What?
Working murders, working major crimes, essentially.
I do. I love the idea of doing the work, but I also have 4 kids.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard.
Yeah, and the workload, and they're, like we said, they're involved in the sports, and the
Yeah.
workload is significant. That even if I knew I was going to be good at, it, and even if the unit was willing to take me, I don't know that it would really work out on the family side. So
Yeah.
That's a good, healthy boundary to have for yourself.
yeah, and that's the benefit of property crimes. I get to be a detective, and I get to do really fun things, but it also doesn't quite have that same gravity of because like for instance, like something simple like a robbery, like say a robbery versus a burglary. There's a real good chance that on the robbery the detectives are going to get called in because there's just so many very specific details that patrol may not be spun up on that they need to handle on the scene.
Sure.
It's not as common with property crime, so you don't have that same burden on the family.
And they're pretty, it sounds like you've known you wanted to do this your whole life. It sounds like wife is pretty on board with all that you've got going on.
Yes, I abused it a little bit in our last department because I was involved in a lot of like specialized stuff where it there was one time where my schedule went from days or evenings to midnights with 0 notice.
Oh,
Wow.
It was just, hey, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So that was one thing whenever we came over. She's like, can we just not do any like the specialized units and whatnot? And then I immediately got on SWAT. And,
Yeah, no
like,
big deal.
just this one. Yeah.
But it's not midnights. I
Yeah.
just might get called in.
That's true. Right.
Yeah.
At midnight. Yeah.
You said 4. How old are your children?
12, 10, 7, and 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Good Lord, man.
Yes.
It's spread. I have 4 too. So
How old are yours?
1 5-year-old twins who are about to turn 6,
Ooh, God.
and then a 7-year-old.
You again after twins.
Right, I know. But that's the 4th and last, so 4 and done. Yeah.
See,
I'm going to allow that noise this time for that. I think
I was
that
nervous about our
doing a
last one
favor.
because like twins runs in my wife's family, and I was like, it is twins. I'm gone.
Yeah, see, it's twins on my
I was like,
side.
yeah, like I'll pay child support, but I'm in Mexico or something. I'm not.
Did you know that about your wife, like earlier on, that
Yeah.
twins were in the family?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my husband did too. So it was like, well, I mean, so.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm
No
so glad it
takebacks.
happened.
Yeah.
I love my kids, but man.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's cute though, but it's rough. What's funny is I have a lot of people that will share with me that they'll say, I wish I had twins. Like, I always wanted to have twins.
Good
yes,
Lord.
like, people will say that. I'm like, that's because they don't know.
Yeah. No.
They don't know.
I don't
It's
see-
2 at the same time for everything.
I don't see the appeal. I'm just trying to wrap my head around how someone would be like, that's so great.
And that's what I want. We've had questions of, did you all do some extra things, maybe IVF, just to try to make that happen? We're like, no, that was all natural.
That was all natural.
The Lord was like, they can manage. Manage we did, but it has been rough.
Yeah. That's insane.
My work's every single day to be an only child. So far, it's pretty convincing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we got the ones we got, but man, that idea of having 2 at
It
the
looks
end,
like they keep you busy. They
They
keep
do.
both of
Yeah.
y'all busy.
Yeah, we have no free time.
No.
Not at all. And my wife's a teacher, so I've talked to her on the phone, like when she has her AirPod in and she's having to deal with some of the stuff around her, and I'm like, yeah, it just sounds like home.
Yeah.
I'm like, you go to school and parent, and then you come home and like,
Yeah.
ugh.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I've been telling her to quit her
Good
job.
for her.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you visit her school? I'm off. Like, do you, I'm a detective. Do you do that?
I haven't. No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Just
I told him on the
curious.
I told him on
I
the
know
phone
some
once
teacher
that
couples, they do
not
that.
to give her a hard time, or I'd find ways to arrest her. Totally different reaction. I thought they were like, good, arrest them. I was like, never mind.
So for her, is it different being a teacher and seeing the stuff that may be going on with those kids at home, and then being aware to it because she's married to an officer?
Yeah.
Has she ran into that?
Yeah, I think so. Because she eventually, her plan is to be a counselor.
Oh, okay.
Because like she enjoys teaching and whatnot, but like she always talks about, she feels like the greatest thing that she does is kind of a counseling role.
Yeah.
Sorry. And so her plan is to go back to school and
Okay.
take the counseling route.
Nice.
But yeah, no, she very much has an appreciation for the early intervention things that can occur to keep them from even, coming into my
Yeah.
radar.
That's
Yeah.
huge. Absolutely. Well, tell her from both of us that we're not biased at all being social workers, but social work is probably the route she needs to go
Yeah.
because it's better.
Yeah.
And my boss, who's an LPC, will very much say different, but it's 2 social workers sitting in front of you. So just pass that along. to
Well,
her.
I support it. I want her to,
Yeah.
to do it because
Yeah.
all the you ever like try to show somebody a TV show and they're like they're on their phone and they're not listening and it's like, dude, that was the good part.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like that, but she's doing grades or sending emails.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're not at work.
Well, she's a teacher though, and they work. I mean, it's a lot. They do a lot.
A lot for that salary.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how.
It's a lot.
Because you're like so much more wrapped up
Yeah.
in as a
All
teacher
the
than
time.
just teaching. I mean,
But I don't get to really complain because as soon as if I complain about it, she's like, oh, hey, remember all those times you almost got yourself killed?
True.
And I just shut up and dealt with it.
yeah. You kind of
Touche.
owe her one. Yeah.
a
That's
couple.
good. It's good because she can like bring you right back on down to reality.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you do the same. That's
Yeah.
important. That's good. Okay.
Is she from here? Did you all like?
No,
by
she's
the
from
way?
oh man.
Arkansas too.
Yeah. No, she's from Waco.
Really?
Yeah.
So how does this tie into Branch Davidian?
That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
That would, yeah.
You don't know, or you do know?
No.
You don't know?
She's completely normal.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was
the
I was a
Chip and
little
Joanna
yeah I was
of Waco.
yeah
Got it.
I was a little bit older when she met me, so I was able to trick her.
Okay.
So
Good.
I was like, I'm well adjusted.
Yeah. And that's why she's going to school for counseling. So hold on. I'm going to have to redo some stuff here.
Yeah.
Don't you do DEA stuff? ATF stuff?
No. I mean, I shoot guns. I don't do drugs.
No, it's not that. I thought you were doing task force stuff too. No?
No. My dad does.
Oh, your dad does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What does he do?
DEA.
DEA? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he actually worked for the guy that we had in. Terrible with names. I'm sounding like a jerk, but we actually had his boss in to do an episode one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's got a cool job.
Gotcha. Okay. So long term down the road, like what do you see yourself doing
I don't know.
career wise?
I really don't know. I go really back and forth on from an investigative perspective where I'm at. I'm pretty happy. I could look at some of the other units and they look entertaining. They look fun, but we have a really good unit. We got good supervision, a good unit just from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't see myself trying to jump to another investigative unit. There's other units like that we have in the department that have interested me, like the Lake unit, for instance. Like I'm somebody that I love learning new things. Like, excuse me, that's why I like the podcast. When they asked me if I want to do it, I don't really know what their decision making process was there, but it wasn't because I had any experience or skill with it. But I was like, it's so new and like it's learning something completely foreign to me. So anytime I have an opportunity to do that, I will.
Yeah.
So like the lake, I think would be a really cool experience. I don't know any of that stuff. But schedule doesn't really work out with kids baseball.
Yeah.
Because you work so much during the summer. Honestly, I enjoyed patrol. I'll be back on the street at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be as an officer or if it'll be from a supervisory perspective, but I don't know.
That's
We'll
cool.
see. Those are kind of the main things I'm weighing right now, as far as like,
Yeah.
do I want to promote or do I want to stay where I'm at?
That's it's a great problem to have if you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's much better than especially the guys where I was at before, where it's like I just want to promote to not be where I am.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was so awesome getting to sit across the table from you this time and watch you just do your thing and roll with this. It wasn't as bad as you thought, right?
wasn't.
No, it wasn't. I thought it.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll
how it turns
see.
out.
Well, you did great.
Well, I gotta let my
Really
wife watch
good.
it. My wife is she'll be super
Yeah.
honest about how I
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
Okay. It seemed like you did great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You only hit the table a couple times.
I did, yeah. That's so hard. And I did this too.
You did do that.
I
See,
sat
it's
there.
hard.
I sat there so many times. It just stopped, stupid. Like,
Yeah.
just quit doing the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different when you're on the other side.
It
Yep.
is.
Well, you did
I wonder
great.
if my family's gonna talk to me at Christmas.
Probably not. Well,
Yeah.
probably. We'll cut a few things out of this,
Right.
Yeah.
so you should be all right.
So like you let everybody know we raise emus.
That we ate.
I'm a
emus, that's
killer.
not a problem. Well, thanks for sitting down and chatting with us today.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I
That's
know
fun.
you're
Thank you.
blindsided by this, but you did great.
You did.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
guys.
I guess-
Next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.